and welcome to Lauren Reed Color. Thanks for joining me for another Saturday Snippets feature. So if you've been with us for the last few weeks, you know that we have started working on a page in Daydreams by Hanna Karlzon, and the page that we are working on is this Sealife page. So far we have based with Neocolor 2s in this blue shade so that we can get an underlying blue tone to the whole page as it's supposed to be an underwater scene. We also colored in the seaweeds last time, and we started coloring in the urchins. So today we're going to finish all of the sea urchins, and then we're probably going to move up this side of the page and color other species of sea life. The palettes that we are using are these two from Sarah Renee Clark's Color Cubes. So it's 287 and 465, and as you can see, there are some colors in common, but other ones that are not, and so these are the shades that we're using. Also, I have created a palette in my swatch book for these colors, and I sent a message in the posts tab on the channel with a photo of this palette, but it could be that as we go along we will add more colors. Right, before we start on that page, I thought I would show you what I got up to this week. It's been quite a productive week, despite being quite a busy week as well, and I didn't think I would get as much coloring done as I managed to. Anyway, I finished one page, and it is in Mythographic Dragonspell by Joseph Katzenbang, and the page that I finished, you're getting a sneak peek because we're actually only supposed to reveal these pages on the 24th of the month. So here it is, my Dragon Knight page. I am really happy with the result. I think it is my second favorite page in this book. I think my favorite page is the very first one that I did. Let me show you. No, where is it? It is, oops, I just went past it. It's this one. I think this one is my favorite, and it's the first page that I did in the book, and this one is coming in a really close second. I love the teal knight and the gold sword and the starry background, so really pleased with that result. I will explain more what I did on this page when I do my completed pages video for February. So that's the page that I finished in Mythographic Dragonspell. And then I have some whips. The first whip is in Gorgeous Goddesses by Marty Noble. And the page that I started is Freya. So Freya, she is riding in this chariot with these cats. So the cats work for the Puss in Boots prompt for Joe at Geordie Colors, Color the Fairy Tales hashtag. And I also have a hashtag of my own, which is Creative Haven 2026. So 2 birds, 1 stone. And I've started coloring this one. So it's going to have a glowing yellow sunset sky. And then these trees are going to be on the dark side of the page. And then she will have like a glow around her. According to the legends, Freya has blue cats, but I'm not sure I'm going to color these cats blue. I might look for some inspiration images on Pinterest for Freya and her cats and see if there are other options besides blue cats. So yeah, that is my page in Gorgeous Goddesses by Marty Noble. Next is a page that I started from Lunar by Lydia Fenwick. This is an untouched book for me, and I'm really excited to get it going. I'm also doing a buddy with Holly from Holly Berry Colors, and I'm really this is the page that I really want to finish by the end of February. So the page that we are doing is the Bunny Keeper page. As you can see, I have colored her face. I have made a tutorial for how I color skin on the face and the eyes and the lips, which will be up on the channel hopefully next week. I just have to edit it. Yeah, I'm really pleased so far with the way she's coming out. And I am planning on her having red hair. So I will also do the eyebrows when I do her hair. One thing to keep in mind about me is that I have wonderful plans for hair. I plan on doing blonde hair and it comes out brown. I plan on doing red hair and it comes out brown. I plan on doing brown hair and it comes out red. So hopefully my plan for red hair will materialize. We will see. I will be using Derwent Pro Color for her hair, but first I think I'm going to base with Neocolor 2. So that is my Bunny Keeper page. My last whip is in Mythomorphia by Kirby Rosannes. This is a book I am doing together with a group on Instagram, and the page for March and April is this Kitsune page. So right now I have only been doing some basing. So the background is based with Derwent Inktense. So are I think they're grass and moss, maybe. Yes, and then I used Neocolor 2s for the tail, and I decided to go with a different shades of pinks and oranges for the tail, and then the Kitsune itself will be the same orange color as these tails. He has 9 tails. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, it's a 9-tailed Kitsune. Anyway, so I have based it and I'm looking forward to doing some shading. I'm not yet sure what I'm going to do with these clouds. I think I'm going to shade everything, color in everything, and then I will decide on the color of the clouds based on the result that I get. I'm leaning towards a different shade of blue as the background, but we will see if that is what I end up having. Okay, so that is Mythomorphia by Kirby Rosannes, and now we're going to move on to our own page in Daydreams. Okay, we are zoomed in, and I'm moving on to the sea urchin. All of these sea urchins are going to be different combinations of the same colors. I don't want them to look exactly the same, but I do want them to be similar. Okay, so we are starting off with lilac, okay, and we are just going to be putting this color down. All right, so over here, I'm leaving a highlight. If you leave a highlight on the 2 ends, the object looks round. Okay, so let's do that. Right, so welcome everybody, if I haven't said that already. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining us. And if you are returning, it's good to have you back. I hope that you have all had a good weekend so far. It is Saturday morning here. I got a bit of a late start than my usual start time, so I'm not sure what time that this video will end up being posted. I have to edit it, and the neighborhood is starting to wake up. So if you hear noises in the background, it's my noisy neighborhood. So as I said at the beginning of the video, I didn't think I would have as much time to color as usual because the week was a little bit busy. I had some errands to run, all the things that you have to do because you're an adult. Adulting is not for the faint of heart. Okay, let's move on to our next color, which is, let's do a slightly different one. I think I used mulberry there. On this one, let's use violet. So I'm putting this in the deeper shadows. Okay. So I had all sorts of things to do because I needed to adult. And that took up some time. Also, some of my other classes had exams, so I've been doing marking. And I'm a little bit, I'm both happy and sort of disappointed. I'm happy with some students and I'm disappointed with others. I think I had high expectations that they would do really, really well on their prose exam. And some of them so far, I'm not finished marking, some of them have done exceptionally well. And other students who I thought, were quite strong, I think they've struggled. Not everybody's good at exams. This course that I teach, it's prose and drama. It used to be 2 separate courses. So there used to be one course in prose and one course in drama. The prose was a semester A course, and the drama was a semester B course, so that they could, get a good foundation before moving on. And then poetry was a semester C course, and now prose and drama are together, so they get 4 hours a week, and then poetry is a semester B course. And I'm on the one hand, I understand the college's rationale for these changes. On the other hand, I think my students are not as mature as they could be. Prose is relatively simple. I mean, they have a lot of terminology to learn, like different kinds of characters, protagonist, antagonist, major, minor, all of that kind of stuff. They have to learn exposition and setting and perspective and all of those terms that come with literary analysis. And then they also have to learn how to analyze stories. And it's not that difficult. It's reasonably simple. But drama is more difficult. It's a completely different type of literature. The focus is not so much on the reader. There's an audience. It's a visual genre rather than a genre where we read and create the picture in our own mind. So yeah, I think it was more difficult for them, and the fact that the course is combined makes it more difficult as well. Okay, let's move on to our next color. I think I'm going to put white. Okay, so now we're going to blend with white. That whimpering in the background is Toby. Ignore him. He has had his breakfast. He has been for his walk. He just needs to express himself today. Okay, see how we're still having the blue undertone? That's the look I was going for with this Neocolor 2 base layer over everything. The blue still comes through. Yeah, anyway, so as I said, some of them are doing really well and others I think have struggled. Also, it's, they're first year students, first semester. They're not really sure of expectations. I find that students who do the first sitting of the exam and don't do so well, do the second sitting and they improve. So I'm sure they will be fine in the end. Okay, now we're going to be using dark indigo, which is a polychromos pencil. If you don't have the polychromos, you can use the deep, is it called deep indigo or indigo blue for the Prismacolor. You'll get the same result. It's I just like the really dark shade of the polychromos. We're gonna put this here in these circles here. We're gonna go in afterwards with an acrylic marker, paint pen, either white or blue, light blue, and put in other embellishments, but I'm gonna wait until I'm finished coloring in all these urchins. I might even wait until the very end of the whole page. We'll see. Sometimes I put them in at the end. Sometimes I put them in on different elements as I go along. We'll see. Yeah, so I was marking that. And then yesterday, Friday, there was another exam. There were two actually. And so next week I'm going to be busy again with marking. Yeah, marking is my least favorite part of the job. I love the teaching. The teaching is such fun. And the students, they're like sponges. They soak everything up. So I love the teaching part, but the marking part is not my favorite. Okay. Oh, I like that. It's got a glow, which is what I want, because if you look at our inspiration images here, there glows on a lot of these, on both of these images. So I want there to be glows on our page. Okay, let's move on to the next one. It's this one. This one, I think our base color for all of these, I think the base color for that one was lavender. Let's go with lavender. Okay. So we've got lavender. If we do this, we'll get different variations of the same thing. Yeah, so that was my work week. The semester begins in another couple of weeks. So I've still got
coloring time available. I mean, I'll have coloring time available even after the semester begins, but the first couple of weeks of the semester are always really hectic. New students, getting them used to things, returning students in other courses, new material, building up lesson plans. Yeah, so the first week of the semester is a bit hectic. Okay, there I did mulberry. What other colors do I have here? I think I did mulberry, lavender, and black grape. So let's go straight in for black cherry. Okay. I wanted to come out a little different from that one. Yeah. So that was my work week, as I said. I was also watching the Olympics. I'm enjoying the Olympics, all the death-defying sports. This week was funny. They had a couple of interesting animal athletes join in. I don't know if anyone saw, but in the women's cross-country final, I can't remember if it was the cross-country. It was one of the skiing events. So as they were going along, they passed by some sort of residence or farm, and the people who live there have a wolf dog. Wow, this dog is gorgeous. It looks just like a wolf. Okay, now we're going in with white to blend. Anyway, so they were going past, and it seems that the wolf dog, whose name is Nazgul, that is so cute, for fans of Lord of the Rings, they were skiing by, not running, they were skiing by, and he saw them, and he decided, oh, this looks like fun, I will join in. And he won the bronze medal. But the Olympic committee said he was disqualified because he was a male dog and a dog, so he doesn't qualify. Oh, he was so cute running along with them as they were skiing, and then he came in third. So I thought that was adorable. And was it yesterday or Thursday? There was a mountain goat decided that the ski jump structure was the perfect climbing apparatus. It decided it was going to climb up the ski jump. I love animals, they're the best. So during COVID, when we were all stuck in our houses, I loved seeing those pictures of animals coming out and walking in the streets of the cities which were deserted, sort of reclaiming territory. In my town, it was so quiet. Okay, I think we're going to leave that. Yeah, we're going to leave it like that. Okay. Yeah, so it's slightly different to the other two. I'm not sure. Yeah, even on camera, I think you can see that they're different. All right, let's move on to, there are two small ones over here. So I think we'll do this one also with that violet. So let's start instead of lilac, let's do gray lavender, but my gray lavender pencil needs to be sharpened. Hold on one second. Okay, it's sharp. So as I was saying, my town during COVID was so quiet. So in my neighborhood, the only people who were allowed out were people who had dogs and needed to walk them. So I was so grateful to have Toby. You have no idea. Well, I'm sure some of you do. Being locked up was really hard. So only people who had dogs were allowed out. And we did have like police in the neighborhood making sure people stayed at home. And there was one time I was out with Toby, and there were a couple of other people out with dogs, and then there was this one guy who was by himself. One of my neighbors, I know him. Anyway, a policewoman walks up to him and says, "Why are you out?" Okay, Mulberry. And he says, "I'm walking my dog." So she looks at him, she looks around, and she says, "Where's your dog?" So he just looks at her. He got a ticket. Anyway, so on these walks with Toby, where it was so quiet, because there wasn't always people out when I was walking with him. Sometimes I was by myself. And I could hear the animals in the surrounding, like my town is in the mountains, and there are villages around us, and some of them have dairy cows. So I could hear the dairy cows mooing. That was cool. And we could hear the birds a lot more. I mean, if you can hear, they're tweeting now, and you can hear them. But during COVID, they were even more prominent. We could hear them even more. So yeah, that was cool. Anyway, but I digress. How did I get on this topic? Oh yes, the animals at the Olympics. Anyway, so I finished watching the figure skating. I enjoyed that a lot. There were some surprises, some not so surprises. It was good overall. There, as always, there's some controversies, which I talked about in last week's Saturday Snippets, so I'm not going to go over it again. What else? So in addition to the Olympics, I'm also watching a TV show called Scott and Bailey. It's a British crime show set in Manchester. Yes, I like that too. And then there's this last one over here. That one we're going to do this purpley color again. So let's do lilac. So it's set in Manchester, and I'm really enjoying it. It's about, it's called MIT, which is Major Incident Team. So they investigate like serious crimes. Sorry, needed to take a break there. Anyway, where was I? Right, so they investigate crimes like murders and kidnappings and those kinds of things that I suppose they're like in America, sort of like a detective squad. That's what they are. Okay. Anyway, it's really good, and the two main characters are women, and they're so very different in their personalities. Okay, we're going with Violet. So, one of them is, it's sort of like Cagney and Lacey. It really reminds me of Cagney and Lacey, but a little bit less, or a little bit more violent to a certain extent. So, yeah, because, Cagney and Lacey was in the 80s, and television was a lot less aggressive. Anyway, so one of them is married and she has children. So that's like, Lacey. Yeah, Lacey was the one who was married. And the other one is single. And another thing that's very different from Cagney and Lacey is that there's a lot of bad language, I must say. I was, it doesn't really bother me that much, but they really, but it's British bad language, so it still seems to be polite. It's funny. Even though they're swearing, they sound very polite when they're swearing. But it's really realistic, which I like. It's, I'm enjoying it. It's a good show. There are 5 seasons, and I'm on season 4, so I've been binging. But I think that I am going to start watching season 4. Yeah, season 4 of the Bridgertons this weekend, because the first 4 episodes are out, and then the next 4 episodes will be on the 26th. So by the time this 26th comes around, I will be ready. Oh, I see there's one more of these. I'm thinking we will make it the first color that we did. So let's do lavender. Oh, let me just put, please excuse the snoring dog. Yeah, so that's what I've been watching. And enjoying that a lot. What else have I been watching? Anything else I've been watching? No, that's the only thing I've been watching, but I am reading. I'm slowly but surely getting out of my reading slump. Okay, now we need mulberry. So, mulberry. I finally finished my audiobook. I was listening to In the Woods by Paula Mounier, book number, I want to say 5, but it could be 6, in the Mercy Carr series. So this one, I love this series. It's great. It's Mercy is a veteran, and it sort of has a cozy vibe to it. She solves murders in her small town in Vermont, but it's also a little bit more violent than your usual cozies. And Elvis is her dog. Mercy was an MP in the military, and Elvis was actually her partner's dog, but he died. This is not a spoiler. This is like in the very first chapter of the very first book, you learn this. Anyway, so she has Elvis, and they solve crimes together. And so I really loved this series, all the different books. But this one, I don't know. This one, first of all, the mystery was strange. It was very convoluted, and it was difficult to keep track of what was going on. There was more than one mystery, and it seemed very disjointed. So I wasn't really. That's why it took me so long to finish it, because I was taking long breaks in between listening sessions because I sort of was losing interest. Anyway, I finished it. Okay. Right, now we are going to move on. I think we're going to stay here on the bottom. Okay, let's finish this whole section at the bottom here. Let us do all of these roundish things. Now, as you can see, right, these we have a light source coming from above. Okay, let me zoom out so that it's easier for me to explain. Right, so it's easier for me to explain if I'm zoomed out. Now, as you can see on this page, the light source is coming from the top right. Now, on pages where there's an obvious light source, say a candle or a lantern or the sun, then that is your light source, and you can plan out your highlights and your shadows accordingly. If you have a page where there is no obvious light source, I usually just add my own imaginary light source. And because I am right-handed, it is usually the top right. Not always. Sometimes I like to, shake things up a little bit, and I make it the top left, but invariably it is the top right. Therefore, we have our imaginary light source over here, and the light is coming from this direction and hitting all of these objects. Now, what does that mean for us? On these circular elements here on the bottom, we want to imagine that our light source is hitting the tops of each of these items. Some of them are going to be in the shadow. So for example, this is going to cast a shadow over these. So these might be a little bit darker, but it doesn't necessarily have to be so precise. You can do whatever you like. I always recommend having some sort of lighter area and darker area on round objects so that they look round. Okay, so after that little speech, let's move on to actually coloring them. Now, I've looked at my color palettes, and I've decided that I want these round objects to be these peachy pinky colors. So we're going to use this light peach, which, wait, what does it say? It says melon. Okay, we're going to use melon, salmon, and mulberry. Okay, so these are going to be our colors for these round objects. And if I look at my swatches, which I made,
Okay. I'm going to be using these colors. Okay, so we've got light peach, nectar, henna, cream, sand, and goldenrod. They're the salmon melon colors. And I'm also keeping black cherry for my shadow color. If you put a reddish purplish color over a pinky peachy color, you're going to get like an orange, so a dark orange. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so let me zoom back in, and we're going to start on these round objects here on the bottom. Okay, so we're starting with light peach. It is really tiny. This one's coming to an end pretty soon. Okay, let me just make sure my protective sheet is there. Okay, and that I'm on camera. Okay, so we're starting over here, and our highlight is going to be over there. Also, you can see that the Neo Color 2 has given us some highlights and shadows. We can make use of them. Yeah, so for example, it's given us a highlight there. So actually, let's make use of that highlight. Okay. All right, I'm going to do a whole bunch. Okay. Right here, the highlight's going to be over there. Yeah, you don't have to have them all in the same place. And again, because we have that base layer of blue over everything, we will still get blue coming through. Okay. Yeah, so that was my audio book. I need to choose a new audio book. I usually have at least an audio book and one regular book going at the same time. Sometimes it's a paperback, sometimes it's an ebook. I get my books from the library. So yeah, so that is the audiobook that I was listening to, and now I need to choose a new one. Do we want to do this one? Yes, let's do this one as well. And this one. And I see this one as well, and that one as well. Oh, there are lots of little ones here. Okay. Right, now we're going to go in with henna. Okay. Yeah, so I need to choose a new audiobook, and I'm thinking that I want to get back into the Royal Spiness series by Rhys Bowen. So this is such a lovely series. It's a cozy historical mystery. So the main character's name is Georgie, and she is, well, I think she's 37th in line to the throne now. So she's a member of the royal family. According to the fictitious lore of the series, she is a granddaughter of Queen Victoria and a cousin of the king. So the king in the series is George V, I think. Yeah, George V. So it's set just before World War I. And Georgie gets into lots of scrapes. And she finds herself involved in lots of murder mysteries. So yeah, so it's a great series. I really enjoy it. Right now there are, I think, 19 books in the series, and next up for me is book number 15. 15? Yeah, I think so. Either 15 or 16. It's called God Rest Ye Gentlemen, or something like that. Anyway, it's set in Christmas time, but I'm obviously not going to be reading it in Christmas time. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. It's been a while since I've read about Georgie's escapades. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. There's a new narrator for the series. The first few books in the series were narrated by the absolutely wonderful Catherine Kellgren, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. And so they replaced the narrator, and it is now Jasmine Blackborough. It took me a couple of books to get used to her, but she's also very good. I enjoy her narration as well. I always listen to books that are written in the first person, because it's one of my, I think I might have mentioned it before, it's one of my pet reading peeves. I cannot read a book written in the first person.
it causes sort of an identity crisis because it uses the pronoun I. In my mind, I is me. I am I. So it's like, but I'm not a character in this book. Okay, I see that I have gone a little bit too far along and gone into different ones, but that's fine. Let's go back in with our peach and blend out that henna and add the henna, not the henna, add the peach in these ones that I went over as well. Okay, wait, let me just switch this around so that I can rest my hand. Okay, so we're just blending this out with the peach again. These two colors look really nice together. Yeah, so I'm going to read the next book in the Royal Spinner series, or listen to it on audiobook. And I'm reading Beast Business by Ilona Andrews. So I finished last week, I finished Hello Darkness by Sandra Brown, which I enjoyed, even though I think I had read it before. And I saw on Erica from Elm Colors, I saw on her channel, in her version of the Saturday Snippets, which is called Weekly Whips, she was talking about the series. It's the Hidden Legacy series by Ilona Andrews. And they have just published their latest book in the series. It's actually a novella. It's not a full novel. And I was saying that if it was written in the first person, I would wait for the audiobook. But if it was in the third person, I would read it. And it is indeed in the third person. And so I am reading it. And it's fun. It's such a fun series. Their world building is always so amazing. Ilona Andrews is actually a husband-wife writing team. It's not a woman. It's a man and a woman. And their other series is the Kate Daniels series. What am I doing? I think I'm going to take the black cherry and put in the deepest shadow areas. Okay, yeah, so I'm taking black cherry and I'm just going to put in my deepest shadow areas. Oh, this is nice. This is coming out nice. Okay, and then we'll put the highlight in. Yeah, so their other series that I really love is the Kate Daniels series. I think I might have talked about the series on the channel before. Yeah, I'm all caught up with that one. I'm waiting for the next book. I think they are going to continue that series. I really hope so. And I'm really enjoying Beast Business. It's good. It's also a fabulous world building in all their series. Yeah, so that's the book that I'm reading now. I'll probably finish it this weekend and we'll have to find a different book to read. I'm thinking, I don't know, what am I going to read next? What do I feel like? As I said, I've been in a bit of a reading slump, so I'm trying to read favorite authors. So I think I might read a Nora Roberts next, maybe. We'll see. She's one of my favorite authors. And I've got lots of her books that I haven't read yet. She's very prolific. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take the cream, okay, and we're going to put in the highlight, as if the sun is, shining. So this we don't go into the shadow area. We might put some more henna as well. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I've been watching and reading. What else did I see or do this week? It's been a quiet week. Okay, and now I think I'm going to go back in with this time I think I want to have another mid-tone connecting this dark cherry to the cream, and I think I'm going to use nectar for that. So I'm just going to put this to make the blend between the colors look a little bit more seamless. I know it seems to be a lot of pencils for what is really, really small little items, but I don't. I'm a bit of a. If you haven't realized yet, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So yeah, and I spend hours on, these little elements, but that's okay. Coloring is meant to be relaxing, no stress. Oh, I really like that, and I really like how they are looking together with the purple urchins, because the orange and the purple are complementary colors. Okay, we are moving on to these ones in the middle, and again, we've got our light peach. Yeah, so what else did I see this week? I saw on Threads there is a little monkey who's gone viral. So his name is Panchi, and he is a Japanese macaque. So little Panchi was born in a zoo in Japan, and his mother rejected him. Oh, it's so sad. He's so sweet. Anyway, because his mother rejected him, it happens sometimes, even in the wild. I think someone from the zoo put out a statement, because the entire world is now invested in little Panchi. I don't know, you've probably all seen him, either on the news or in social media. So the zoo put out a statement that his mother was very young. This was her first baby, and so yeah, she rejected him. So he had to be hand raised for the first few months by a human. Okay, which means that he has attached himself to his human keeper, but this is not healthy. He has to go, and he has to be reintroduced to the monkeys. Okay, so from what I understand, the monkey troop that they are introducing him to is not the same zoo as where his mother is. His mother is in a different zoo. They moved him. It could be that if they'd put him in the same zoo, she might have, I don't know, attacked him. It could be. Anyway, right, so that's the peach. Now we're going in again with the henna. Anyway, so little Panchi, when he was really tiny, the zookeeper gave him a plushy orangutan doll, very fluffy and furry, because to simulate his mother's fur. And little Panchi, now he has been reintroduced to the monkey troop. Well, not reintroduced, because it's a different monkey troop, so it's just introduced. He's been put into the enclosure with the other Japanese macaques, and he has his plushie with him. It's the most adorable thing. So yeah, he's been put into the enclosure with them, and at first the other monkeys didn't like him, which makes sense. He's a stranger to them. And so they were pushing him around, and he would try and approach them, and they would run away from him. And there's one particular monkey that really likes to push him around, and yeah, poor little Panchi. They seem to be, at first it seemed that they were rejecting him as well. And every time something happened, he would run to his little plushie and he would snuggle up with it. And every time the keeper that he attached himself to came, he would cling to him. Oh, it was so sad. Anyway, everyone's so invested in this little monkey. And but now, slowly but surely, he's making friends. They're starting to accept him. And a biologist came onto Threads and explained that, I thought this was really interesting. So she explained that Japanese macaques are a matriarchal society. So the fact that Panchi's mother rejected him was very serious, because male macaques get their rank in the troop. This is according to this biologist. I need to look up and make sure that this information that I am imparting about macaques is actually correct. But anyway, according to this biologist, she was saying that the males in the troop get their rank from their mothers because it's a matriarchal society. Okay, I'm going back in with the peach to blend in the henna. Anyway, so as I was saying, because his mother rejected him, it's even more of a problem for little Panchi because he doesn't have his mother to establish his rank with the troop. He's got to do it himself. Yeah, so slowly but surely the other monkeys are starting to accept him and he's making friends and he started to play. But the interesting thing is because you're on social media, people who are new to the story are seeing older videos of him where the other monkeys were being quite aggressive. But as the zoo has stated, if these monkeys really wanted to hurt Panchi, they would. They're not really being that aggressive with him. Yeah, they're pushing him around because he's got to learn. He's got to learn manners. He's got to learn, how to behave with the other monkeys. Just like a baby, a human baby needs to be scolded sometimes if they get too aggressive. So does Panchi. So anyway, some people who are new to Panchi's story because they saw it on the news are watching older videos where they're being a little bit more aggressive with him. So they're getting upset like we did when we first saw him. Anyway, black cherry, shadow areas. Anyway, but this monkey is just the most adorable little thing. I highly recommend going and looking him up. I also want to take this black cherry and just fill in this round bit here on the top of these ones. Also leaving a highlight. Okay. Yeah, so cute. Such an adorable little guy. Yeah, so that's Panchi, the Japanese macaque. Yeah, I have curated my threads so that I get lots of animal posts. I'm not interested in any other. I'm trying to, stay away from other. Every once in a while, something political will come up, but I'm trying to stay away from any posts like that. It's not good for my peace of mind. So I stick with the animal videos and the animal posts, dogs and cats. And there was another one that I saw. So someone posted about how their dog thinks they're a cat. So the dog likes to climb into objects. So how cats have that whole I sits thing. If there's a box, they'll climb in it. So this dog does the same thing. He collects items that he can fit into and sit in like a cat. And he brings his blanket. So cute. So I saw that one and I saw something else. Oh yeah, someone else, keeping with the monkey theme. On threads, I also follow lots of feeds that are related to true facts and interesting trivia tidbits. I can't remember which one it was, if it was QILs or if it was historical facts or one of them. Right, before I tell you about this, I've missed those. Hold on, let's go back to our henna. Yeah, so this feed was talking about a couple of primate researchers. I think they said in the 1960s. Okay, they decided to do an experiment. They had a baby, and a baby was born in the facility or the zoo or wherever it is that they work, these primate researchers. And they wanted to see what would happen if they raised this, I think it was a chimpanzee. If they raised this chimpanzee with their baby, they wanted to see if the chimpanzee would adopt human behavioral patterns. So that's what they did. Today, this would never happen. because that is so, in my opinion, unethical. To take a baby chimpanzee away from their mother and to, raise it with your own baby to see what would happen. I consider this very unethical, but I think in the 1960s, they did things back then that they would never do today. Anyway, I digress. So they did this to see if the baby chimpanzee would adopt human traits. Only, unsurprisingly, in my opinion, the opposite happened. The human baby, started behaving like a chimpanzee. I thought that was just hysterical. But it doesn't surprise me. I am not at all surprised, because human beings evolved, if we go according to the theory of evolution. We have a lot in common with primates. So I'm not at all surprised that the human baby started to behave like a chimp. Anyway, I think they took the baby chimpanzee back to the zoo so that their own human child would stop behaving like a chimp. That was funny. That was a good laugh. Okay, cream for our highlight. Okay, so I did that one. I don't think I did this one. Let's do this one and this one. Even if I've done them before, it's okay if you put another layer of the cream on it. So that was funny and interesting. I always think that, they did things in earlier decades of the 20th century that would be completely unacceptable today. For example, there's the famous Stanley Milgram experiment. So I have a colleague, she's retired now, who was a student of Stanley Milgram. Stanley Milgram was quite a famous behavioral psychologist. I can't remember if it was Harvard or Yale that he was a lecturer at. I will look it up, and when I'm editing, I will put it on the screen. Okay, so we've put in our highlight, and now, like I said before, I want to merge the peachy color, the black cherry color on the bottom with the cream, and I'm using nectar for that. So anyway, my colleague was a student of his, not during his famous experiment. She was a student of his just before he retired. But his famous experiment was before. Anyway, so the Milgram experiment, I am 100% sure they would not give approval for this experiment today. So he wanted to see, based on, the crimes committed by the Nazis during World War II, he wanted to see how far people would go if a figure in authority gave them an order. Okay, so let me just move on to the last set of these round things. In fact, there aren't that many, but there are a couple on the far end. Hold on one second, let me move the page again. Okay, so on the far end of this page, on the right-hand side, there aren't that many of these roundy things. There's this one, and this one, and that one. There are 4. And so what I'm also going to do is I'm going to make these other really small round things slightly darker. So I think I'm going to use the black cherry for them. Anyway, but there are a couple that are the round ones. So let's do those. Anyway, so Stanley Milgram's experiment. So he wanted to see how far people would go if a person in authority gave them, an order to do something ethically questionable. Okay, so his experiment, one moment, where am I? I need my henna. So in his experiment, he got student subjects. He told them that they were going to be participating in an experiment that involved electric shock therapy. Okay. So they wanted to see, under question, they told these subjects that they wanted to see the effects of electric shock. Okay. And the subject in the experiment was told that they need to give increasing levels of electric shocks to a subject in a room that they could see through one-way glass, okay? And anyway, actually the student, the subject who was giving the shocks, they were the one who were being studied. They wanted to see if a lecturer, if a professor, if someone in authority gave them an order, how far they would go. How high of an electric shock would they be willing to administer before they said no, before they refused? Okay, so the results of this were quite disturbing. It was discovered that about 20% of the participants, after the first electric shock was administered, they refused to administer anymore. Only 20% of these subjects stopped after the very first electric shock. Another, I think it was 15%, I can't remember the exact numbers, but another 15% were willing to go all the way. And let me just clarify that they were not actually administering electric shocks to the ostensibly? Never mind. They were not actually administering electric shocks. They thought they were administering electric shocks. And like the person who was part of the experiment in the room were like screaming and shouting from pain, but they weren't actually. They were acting. Anyway, so as I said, about 10 or 15% were willing to go on and on administering electric shocks. And the majority of the subjects would be willing to do between 2 to 4 increasing levels. And I found that really disturbing. Anyway, so as I said, I doubt very much whether they would get approval for this kind of experiment today, to do something like that. It reminds me of that book, The Fifth Wave. Is it The Fifth Wave? No, it's not The Fifth Wave. The Fifth Wave is the one about the aliens. There's one about I think it's based on a true story where a teacher in a school wanted to see how children would behave, how his students would behave, and he did a whole prison scenario where half of the class were prisoners and the other half were inmates. That's another, I think that is a true story. I can't remember. I have to look it up as well. Anyway, so how did we get on Stanley Milgram? Oh yes, the chimpanzee. This is my thought processes. I start on one thing and I move on to something else that, comes to mind. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do these, I think we're going to do these tiny ones on the bottom, and I think that is going to be it for today. I think we've been at this for, I don't know how long, 45 minutes, maybe more. Okay, so I'm just going to take this black cherry and I am going to fill in all of these round ones. I am going to leave a highlight at the top of each one. So that was that experiment. I'm trying to think of, it was definitely a book. It had the word wave in it, but it's not The Fifth Wave. The Fifth Wave is definitely the book about the aliens. I don't remember what the name of the book with the prisoner experiment was. I will look it up and post it on the screen. Yeah. Anyway, so on the topic of books, I saw also on Threads, people in the book Threads community were posting that Goodreads is finally going to create an exclusive DNF shelf. So DNF, if you're not a reader, DNF stands for Did Not Finish. And up until now, Goodreads has had only 3 exclusive shelves. So an exclusive shelf is a shelf that you can only add the book to one of those shelves. So it had all to read. No, not all. All is not an exclusive shelf. It's to read or one to read. What are the exclusive shelves on Goodreads? Want to read, read, currently reading, and want to read. Those were, up until now, those were the exclusive shelves. Okay, and for many, many years, we have been asking Goodreads to please add a DNF shelf, and they have always said they won't. But now they have. Very exciting. And people are also very hopeful, crossing fingers, that they will also allow another thing that we have wanted for many, many years. I was off screen, I apologize. But I just filled in all of these little tiny circle things. So for many, many years, we've been asking for half stars. Years and years and years ago, about 10 years ago, I was on a different site called Shelfari. Amazon bought Shelfari and merged it in with Goodreads and closed Shelfari. But Shelfari had half stars. So all the people who moved over from Shelfari to Goodreads wanted half stars, including me. Okay, now what are we going to do to blend that out? White? Yes, we're going to use white. Okay, so I'm going to blend out that black cherry with white. Okay. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Yeah, so very excited about that. Crossing fingers that they will also add half stars. I used to rate all the books that I read. I always rate my books. I rate them, but I used to also review them. But I've sort of, it takes too long, and I'm just like I'm a perfectionist in my coloring, I'm a perfectionist in my book reviewing, and I felt that it was taking me ages and ages to review a book, and that is time better spent reading and coloring. So I'm going to stop reviewing all the books. I'm just going to rate them. And I have, my own rating. Because there are no half stars, I have my own rating system on Goodreads. It's very rare for me to actually DNF a book. I always like to give a book a chance. So, hold on. I was off camera again. I usually give a book 50 pages. If after 50 pages, the book is not grabbing me, I will DNF. Okay, now there are a couple of reasons I will not finish a book. Okay, if it's something that has to do with the plot that is just not appealing to me, I will just remove that book from my Goodreads shelf. Hold on, I need to get the Polychromos Dark Indigo for our deepest shadows for these little circles. Hold on one second. Oh yeah, so Polychromos Dark Indigo. So yeah, so if it's something to do with the plot that is just not for me, I don't like the plot for some reason, then usually what I will do after 50 pages is sometimes even before. There was one book that I DNF'd after 10 pages because there was an event in the book that I refused to read the book after that. It was just terrible, and I just removed it from my shelf. I didn't rate it. I didn't write a review because this was a personal preference of my own. Okay, so those books that it's a plot issue that I dislike, I will just remove from my shelves. No review, no rating. However, if it is a book that has a good premise, interesting characters, but the writing is bad, like really bad writing, incorrect punctuation, run-on sentences, just poor writing, those books I will not remove. I will give a rating, usually of 1 star, and I will explain why. There is something wrong with the writing there, and I think readers should, they should be aware that there's a problem with the writing in the book. Now, very often, I will read books that other people have rated 1 star because other people who are like me, who there's a plot point that they don't like, and that's the reason they've rated it 1 star. Sometimes those plot points are ones I really like. So I don't think that giving a book 1 star is necessarily a bad thing. There are many, many readers who will deliberately look out 1-star books and read them. I'm one of those, because sometimes the reason the book has 1 star is actually something I like. But if a book has a 1-star rating because the writing is poor, I think readers deserve to know that before they purchase a book. We spend, we have money and we spend money in our books, and we should be allowed to know if a book is problematic and we don't want to spend our money on it. Yeah, but I don't agree with 1-starring a book because of a plot point. It should always be because of something like poor writing or lack of editing, things like that. I'm very careful when I give 1 star, because I know that authors invest a lot of time and effort in their book, and they deserve to be treated with respect and all that. I also try to stay away from all the drama that is on book threads, and before when it was on Twitter. Okay, anyway, so let's zoom out and see what it looks like.
So there you have it. That's what it looks like right now. I really, really like this color combination that I've got. And I'm starting to see that the purple and the pinky orange is really working nicely with the teal. So if we look at the color wheel, you'll see that purple, teal, and orange are all complementary colors. They work really well together. So I'm really pleased with the results we're getting so far, and we are going to continue this next week. So next week, I think we're going to start moving up. I think we might do this one and then move up the side here. Because these ones are closer to the light source, they're going to be a bit lighter than these ones, which are like on the bottom of the ocean and therefore in the shadows of the water. And so these ones are darker, and they'll become progressively lighter as we move up. Okay, so thanks so much everyone for joining me. I hope that you've enjoyed my ramblings. If you didn't, feel free to mute me. You are always more than welcome to not listen to me go on and on about various things. Okay, so thanks again, and I hope to see you next week. Bye for now.